Dean Cuisine. Today we're going to do a very simple, very classic, more or less a one-pot dinner. It's a boiled chicken dinner, but I'm going to show you how to make it elegant. It's absolutely delicious, and we're going to start right now. So we've got a nice fresh chicken here, been washed, and luckily, or beneficially for me, I have this here is half full of chicken stock from a previous chicken dinner that we made. So the flavor of this stock and the sauce that I'm going to make for it is going to be super delicious. So initially we just take the chicken. I've got this pot that I love. It makes my life very easy. When I want to remove stuff, I don't have to be fishing it out. So I've got cold stock. Put the chicken in. You want to just cover it with water. If you don't cover it, the part that's not submerged just gets a little funny. It's not a big deal. For the initial initial phase of this meal, one onion cut in half, some sea salt, say just a couple of teaspoons. You don't want to go too heavy on the salt at this stage because you can correct the seasoning when we go into phase 2. Some cracked black pepper. And that's it for phase 1. I'm going to put the lid on to speed up the process. Bring this to a boil, and as soon as it hits the boil, I'm going to take it down to a simmer. We're going to simmer it for about 25 minutes, half an hour, and then we're going to add in all the rest of our stuff. So we'll be back. And we're back. My chicken has been gently simmering for almost half an hour, so it's getting there. It's just getting there. Now we're going to add our veggies. Carrots, I've cut them fairly large, so that because everything's going to be very soft, but you still want to be able to enjoy the bite of it. As opposed to my celery, everything's done on the bias. As you can see, my celery is smaller because that's more of a flavor thing than an actual veg thing. And I personally like my potatoes a little bit on the larger side. So we are 2/3 of the way there. Make sure everything gets into the broth. Give it a little bit more salt. Now the reason we're doing it this way is I want the chicken done. I don't want the veggies overdone. Some folks might put it all in all together, and if you do that, certainly your potatoes are going to pretty much disappear. So now this is going to be 20 minutes at a simmer, and we'll be right back again, and we're going to finish the whole thing and plate it for you. And here we're ready to go. Everything is done as far as I'm concerned to perfection. My favorite tool in the kitchen is my paring knife, which I use for just about everything. And I'm testing my veg. Absolutely gorgeous. One thing I forgot to mention in the last segment was when you add your veg, that's when you want to add your aromatics. I'm using thyme and rosemary, classic with chicken. I did put them in there during the break there. So let's get down to it. As I said, the reason I love this pot is because it's so simple. So simple. I've got a gorgeous stock in there. Voila. Okay. So now we're going to make a veloute out of this, what we have left here. Phase one. Melt some butter. I always like to knob butter. I always like to have some knob butter in the fridge. It's just so handy, and if you don't want to be throwing big, giant clumps of butter in there. So we're going to melt. I'm going to say 3 tablespoons of butter, knob butter. I have less than half a cup of flour. And the reason I'm not giving you the exact weights and measures is because you have to kind of eyeball it. So I've seen people making a roux, which is what I'm doing here, and it's very stiff. And I've even seen it to the point where somebody has a spoon in there. It's just a ball of flour and butter that's just rolling around in the pan. It's not doing anything. You need to be able to see it sort of simmering and bubbling and actually working. And what we're doing is we're cooking out the flour flavor. So, and you can always add more flour. You can never take it out. So let's just get a sense of where we are. And then you have different stages of a roux. At the beginning, it'll be quite light, which is a blonde roux. And then you can go to a brown roux and a chocolate roux, but you don't want to go to the black roux. That's going overboard. So the further along you let it go, the nuttier it will taste. As far as I'm concerned, this is about the perfect consistency. I'll show you how it looks. There, you can see that. It's loose, it's bubbling, you can hear it bubbling. So we're not gonna do any seasoning here. We'll wait until the sauce is almost complete. Let that simmer away while I pull my chicken. So we had a truss, which I mean tied up so that it cooked nice and evenly. Starting to smell that nutty flavor there now. Take a nice piece of my chicken. I fancy a bit of the breast. And another thing about this meal is you're never going to get that rubber chicken consistency. It's just so moist. Just a moist, lovely, beautiful breast. Right. Now, I'm at about a blonde roux. A little deeper than a blonde roux. I'm liking the aroma I'm getting, and I don't want the sauce to be too dark. So I'm going to start now. Okay, when you add your liquid to your roux, you have to be ready to whisk because things happen really fast. See what I mean? That just exploded. There we go. And I'm using a flour that is prepared for sauces. It's not all-purpose flour. It's a sauce flour. It's finer. Okay, that's beautiful and smooth already. But it's not boiling. So I don't know how thick this is going to be. And you don't find that out until it actually comes to the boil. So we'll wait for that. In the meantime, I'll finish my plating. And I also like to serve this with maybe another veggie dish like cauliflower or Brussels. Okay, yeah, it's bubbling, and I think I'm loving the consistency of it. Get a little bit of color on the plate. Tighten everything up. Now, seasoning. Cut black. See what the salt is like. Definitely needs salt. But the flavor from that stock, that double, is what I'm going to call a double stock, and those aromatics. I'll show you, rather than bring this over to the camera, I'll just show you by serving it, just how luxurious and velvety the sauce is. Okay, so we've got, it's a little bit of a bland dish. It's not jumping out at you as color wise, but it just tastes like home. So there's my sauce. It's just beautiful. Big sauce guy, so I put sauce everywhere. Behave. All right. That is such a classic. And I'm telling you, it's so simple, but it tastes so good. You're really going to wow your friends, your loved ones, whomever you're cooking for. And I'm going to go and enjoy this. In fact, I'll tell you what, let's have some right now. The potato is done to perfection. Talk about moist. just eat and tuck into that. Pardon me for talking with my mouth full. But thanks for joining. I hope you try it. You're absolutely going to love it. And there she is, our finished plate. It says boiled chicken dinner, but it sure doesn't look boiled chicken dinner. If I got that in a fine dining restaurant, I'd be mighty happy. Thanks again, folks. We'll see you next time.